and for every time showing trust in me and inviting as a resource person. Now, without wasting much of your time, I will be sharing my PPT with all of you. I hope my PPT is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can you present it in slideshow mode, ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
So,
Fine. Thank
the topic which has been allotted to me is research skill development. So, if you know, everybody is familiar with the word research. Research means we are searching, we are finding out again. It is a step-by-step process, and once we find out the solution, again on the basis of that we have some problem, we identify something new, and again that will be called as a problem, and we continue this process, continue to be goes, and this is called research. Research means once we have find out the solution of the problem, again on the base of that particular study, on the basis of research gap, we have some limitations, some constraints which we have not identified on that other particular aspects. So we try to solve. But we talk about here research skills. Skills means expertise, command to write research paper, to get your paper published in good journal, reputed journal, Scopus, SCI, or other UGC approved journal, ABDC journal. It is required that you must possess this type of skills. Skills means expertise. You should have expertise over conceptualized skills. You should know the meaning of the concepts. What are the terminologies? What are the concepts which has to be included in forming a research paper? How we can design a research paper? What is the format of the research paper? What tools and techniques we should apply? How you write, either in present tense, past participle. So this type of writing skill is required. It must be in the story form. After completion of the research paper, it is very necessary, it is important that you must have submission skills, because people do not have knowledge regarding submission skills. And this process is very tedious. Writing paper is one of the tedious tasks, and submitting paper, it requires some database structure, content. So you should be informed about these things, submission skills. So the very first thing which we face is how to select topic. Generally, only those topics are selected which are easily available. Sometimes we select topics on Shodh Ganga which are easily available, or spouse, husband, where the husband is already working and wife is searching on the same topic, working on the same topic. Sometimes your guide allotted the particular topic. Just because of a guide preference, you select that particular topic. There are some personal life experience, existing theses are available, some financial constraints are there. As per some of the family member or your friends suggest some topic, just because of that, you select the topic. But this is the biasness. You cannot select the topic on the basis of biasness. So what are the tips given to you? You should identify the expert which help you in each and every step. And this process is also required. Experts are not easily available, because sometimes experts are already engaged in some work, or they charge for that, to be very frank. So what you have to do, you should attend the workshop or FDPs of those experts who have this knowledge, and they are spreading this knowledge with the help of this seminar or workshops. You should select that particular journal, best journal. You should have skill of selecting the best journal. How you select the best journal? So with the help of Emerald, with the help of Science Direct, with the help of Google Scholar, you should select that particular journal. The topic which you have selected, which it should be of your interest, area of interest. The topic which you are going to choose, it should be area of your interest. It should be multi-bagger topic. Multi-bagger means it should give 100-time returns. For example, if I talk about Parshuraman scale, once it was established, now we are adapting the scale. So it is giving 100-time returns to him. So these are some of the tips of selecting the topic. The first skill which I told you earlier is conceptualize skill. So you should have basic knowledge related to concepts. So what are the concepts? While writing a paper, you should have information regarding basic terminology. People generally get confused regarding concept, construct, variable, model. So what is concept? Concept is nothing. It is a meaning. It is a collection of meaning. It is a collection of characteristics associated with the objective. It is that thing which we can communicate, which we inform, but it is not measurable. Concept is generally a thing which we want to tell to others, but it is not measurable. It is, or in simple word, we can say it is a definition in simple word. Construct means it is an abstract idea. We can say that it is not directly measured. There is no direct observation, but based on some variables, we create one construct. For example, if you want to assess the performance of employee, here I will give you one task to interact with me. Suppose if I want to know the performance of assistant professor, right? So on what basis shall I judge if I would like to know the performance of any employee in academic field? Then on what basis should I assess? Can anybody answer? I'm repeating the question. If I want to know the employee performance or the employee performance in academic field, then on what basis should I evaluate? Can anybody answer?
Quality of lecture or delivery of the lecture,
Yes.
methodology.
Yes. That means if I am a boss and I want to know the employee's performance on the basis of some criteria. The criteria means how many FDPs he has attended, how many FDPs he has taken, students' feedback, right? Fourth one will be based on how many publications, based on publications, how many papers he or she has published, how many books he has published. So on the basis of these 5 criteria, I will be judging the performance, right? So this is called performance. Performance is based on some criteria. So this performance is construct, and these are some statements. So that's why we call constructs are not always measured, right? Now what is variable? Variable means anything which is measurable on the basis of these 5 criteria. These are the 5 criteria on which employee performance was measured. So these 5 statements were called variables. And what is model? Model means with the help of some chart, with the help of some models, we visualize the theory. It is a visualization of theory. Let us understand with the help of example. So rich is the concept, right? Concept means rich. What are the variables that show if this person is rich or not? Based on its income, total value, home, car, investment. These are the variables. Variables are analyzed with the help of indicators. So how we can say if this person is rich or not based on some indicators. Indicator is income or assets. So, these are variables. This is concept. Concept means rich. Concept means academic achievement. Academic achievement means concept. If he is doing well, he is good. If he is not doing well, so he is not good. So how to measure this concept? We will measure with the help of these indicators. Marks obtained in the exam, FDP attended, or number of time, number of year, number of times, or frequency of attending the FDPs, or any achievement, how many medals, how many awards he have received. So these are the indicators on which this concept is prepared. Right? Now, another thing is research gap. People generally get confused how to identify research gap. So, what is research gap? Research gap means the thing which is not covered by the expert. Some have covered that particular area, but has not covered the remaining area. So this is the gap. What was expected and what was actually done. But some area is not covered. So that part which is not covered, it is called research gap. So how to identify the research gap? With the help of, you can write down with the help of some keywords, with the help of review of literatures. Review of literatures means you have to study the literature of the experts. Whatever topic he has written, whatever work he has, particular person has done, and what area he has not covered. So we can identify the gap over there. With the help of keywords, we can write down in Google Scholar. With the help of keywords, we can find out the gaps. Any motivating or current issue, we can find out the gaps. So how to eliminate this research gap? So for that, you have to apply PICO's approach. PICO's approach means population, intervention, comparison, outcome, and setting. Population means some study have not adequately represented the evidence based on gender, race, age. So this part, population part, is not properly covered. So based on this, you can identify the gaps. Based on intervention, intervention means some duration. Somebody has done the study between 2008 to 2018, but now after COVID era, the trend has been changed. So after 2019-20, the trend has been changed. So this you can relate it with the past time period. So this is intervention. Comparison, you can compare your study with another one. Outcome based or setting based, this is like where you are lacking the information related to the interest or information which were not covered in designing the research paper. So you can relate it with your paper. So these are the concept. Conceptual skill means so you have some knowledge related to research paper concepts. You should have information related to knowledge about how to cover research gap, concepts, research questions. Now, what is research question? Research question means which the research set out to answer. We generally frame research questions, and on the basis of research questions and analysis part, we try to answer those questions. For that, we have to formulate hypothesis. So it narrow down, research question narrow down your broader topic into specific area. For example, if I take the example of practical problem, this aging population. Suppose the practical problem is an aging population leads to more fall injury. These injuries are costly in terms of mental, social, and economic cost. There are some senior aged person who generally fall some injuries. And these injuries are very costly in terms of mental, in terms of social, in terms of economical aspects. So what type of questions you can make? Research question may be related to what do we know about causes of fall among seniors? What are the main causes of falls? What do we know about the role of IT in preventing falls among seniors? How to prevent it with the help of IT? What type of IT system are best in preventing falls among seniors? So these are the questions. Based on this question, we analyze, we make our study, we continue with our study, and we formulate the hypothesis. Right? Based on this research question, we formulate our objective, hypothesis, and then we come up with the analysis part. Right? I hope these conceptual skills are clear. Any problem in conceptual skill? Conceptualize skill is clear. Impulse concept. You should know the meaning of the concepts of the paper. Second is design skill. Design and writing skill. Design skill deals with the format of the paper, what you have to include. And writing skill means what are the things which we have to include. The sentence framing or do's and don'ts. So simultaneously, I will be taking designing skill as well as writing skill. So designing means structure of the paper or manuscript. So if I talk about the structure of the paper or manuscript, IMRAD root format is followed. IMRAD means I stands for introduction, M for method, A means R means result, A means and, D for discussion, and last conclusion. So this is the outline of the research paper. First we start with the title, then abstract. Abstract, it should be brief introduction about what we have done in the whole entire paper. Then we come up with the introduction. Introduction, we start with the background of the relevant story, overall purpose, what is the purpose, what is the main motive of doing this study, what is the problem statement, is there any gap, and this should be in the present tense. If I talk about the literature review means it is a summarized form of all the conclusion given by the experts. It highlights on issues and controversies, and this should be in the past tense. Literature review should be in the past tense. Right? This should be in the past tense. If I talk about introduction, the gap, the problem statement should be in the present tense. So this is the writing skill. Apart from designing skill, I am taking the writing skill simultaneously. If I talk about the methodology part, methodology means what is the sample size, how much will be the population, what methods, what sampling techniques, how you are going to analyze. So this type of methodology we have to take. If I talk about the result and discussion part, so this deals with interpretation. It shows your understanding with the help of some charts, some charts, or we can say with the help of pie chart, diagrams. Conclusion is to sum up. It concludes with some limitation and further scope. Lastly, there should be some references which should be listed alphabetically. So when we go for the title of the paper, for the publication, the title should be like this. See, this is the title. We cannot say a study on an impact on. This word should be avoided because this is just a part of MRP, major research project of the student. So try to make your topic unique. See, this is the topic: association between NBSI, polymorphosis, haplotypes, and smoking related cancer sites. So this is, see how this title is framed. With the help of title, we can analyze what has been done. Association means either they go for correlation, or if they have non-parametric test, then they went for chi-square test, right? So association itself has a meaning. In the title, the researcher has showed us how to frame the title and what he has done. In the title, if I talk about title, the author's name should be in this format. See, the first author is Sangshim Park. So this is the first author, that's why it is over here, written over here. Second author, there's one author. Third author, it has one. First, write down name of all the authors who are associated with this research paper, and apart from this, affiliation of all the authors should be mentioned in the abstract. While submitting the paper or research paper or research article, you should give a title page in a separate page. So this should be like this: the title page followed by author's name followed by their affiliation. Now, this was the first page, and it should be shown in the separate page. Another one is abstract. As I told you earlier, the abstract should be it should cover gist of entire paper. So what gist we have to cover in abstract? It should cover summary of the manuscript. Summary. The summary should be in 200 to 300 words, only half page. It should cover background or purpose of the study. It should cover background and purpose of the study in 1 to 2 sentences, which define the questions. So we should start always with the background. Suppose if I talk about artificial intelligence, so you do not have to mention here what artificial intelligence is, or you are not going to define it over here. You should start with the background. Earlier, previously, robotics were not there, and we were not informed about the artificial intelligence, or the scope of artificial intelligence has been increases day by day with the advancement of with the change in technology, or with the advancement in technology. So this is the way of writing the background, followed by methods. The method, what method you have applied, it should be short and to the point. Method means it covered the population or sample size. So data has been collected from this area with the help of convenient sampling or probability sampling, right? And the sample size taken over by is this 100 respondents or 200 respondents. Now in 1 or 2 lines, it should highlight the major point of the results. It is showing positive impact on this, or negative impact on this. End up with the conclusion related to the fundamental question, or we can say it's future scope, telling about the future scope. So this is the way of writing abstract. Coming to the introduction part. See, I have covered up till now. Conceptualized still I have covered. Designing and writing, I will be covering it simultaneously, and at the end I will be telling you submission skills. So we are into the process of designing and writing skills, right? Abstract part is over. Then come to the introduction part. So how to write introduction? Your introduction should be 1 to 2 pages. It should be 300 to 500 words. It should talk about the previous research work, the background information related to your study. It should cover the need of the study. Need means significance or rationale of the study. It should highlight main on the problem. The problem should be focused. What is the problem of the study? And covering the gap. So obviously it should cover the gap. If there is a problem, that means this problem has not been covered up earlier. That's why we, in 1 or 2 lines, we describe the gap with the research question. And while describing the gap or research question, the writing, when you write this, it should be in the present tense. But if we talk about the previous finding, it should be in the past tense. So the writing skill required would be, in the introduction part, would be you should describe the rationale for undertaking the study, describe the need of the study. You should explain how research makes contribution in the field, or how it advance the knowledge in the further studies. It should clearly state the research questions. It come up with the background of the problem, issues, what are the issues related to research, its aim, or able to understand or resolve, citing studies to support your arguments. Remember, whenever you mention any year in 1990, in 1991, this person stated that, so this should be supported by your citations. If I talk about the methods, as I told you, after introduction, some people do not include literature reviews in the introduction. Some people, but as per the Scopus journal, this literature review should be the part of introduction. You should support your arguments, support your statements with the help of some previous studies. So better to incorporate literature review in introduction part. Talking about the methods. If I talk about method, so here what you have to define, how was the problem studied? Here we talk about sample, subject, sample techniques, origin, or we talk about data collection method, data collection protocol, what techniques we have adopted, primary or secondary, what are the computer software we have used, SPSS, AMOS, eViews, description of equipment or any other resources that we had used earlier. So you have to describe each and everything related to methods. Questionnaire have been circulated, administered in where, in which area, which location, how many questionnaire were collected, how many were discarded, how many was of not use, how many of were valid. So these are the methods which we have to include. For methods, we have some do and don'ts. What are the do's and don'ts over here? You should provide full details of the methods while writing in the research paper, what techniques, what instruments you have used. You should include photograph. Instead of photograph or diagram, it is better to come up with the infographics. These days, there is a great demand of infographics. You should describe your questionnaire survey, where you have collected data, how many questionnaires were collected, with which survey technique you have used in your study. After that, you should support it with the help of validity and reliability, because until and unless you select the validity and reliability, it will not indicate good impact on the editor. Or if it is a data scientist related, or if it is a lab related study, then describe the lab setting or environment over there. Analysis method. In short, you have to explain the analysis method that you have chosen in the methods. Analysis method you have chosen in your topics, in your study, right? Any problem related to this up till now? Any problem related to this? Do you want to ask anything? Up till now it is clear? Somebody has raised hand. Somebody has raised hand. So do you have any problem, or just by mistake you have raised your hand?
Dreama ma'am, do you have any query ma'am?
Sorry? Okay. Dreama ma'am, do you have any query as you have raised your hand? Or shall I continue? If you are muted, then you can type it in the chat box. You can ask your query in the chat box. Okay, somebody based on result. Okay, somebody had answered the question. Okay, I'm going to continue. Now, coming toward the result part. As I told you, IMRAD rule is followed. IMRAD means introduction. Then we come up to the method, and then we come up to the result and discussion part. Result means what you have to include in result section. So this you have to answer the research question. Whatever questions you were asked earlier in the introduction part, research questions were framed on the basis of objectives. So you are going to logically answer it with the help of analysis. So correlate all this objective, hypothesis, and result. Use data from the study. That means it is necessary to mention p-value, t-value, confidence level, confidence interval. This in result part, it should be supported by your p-values. Present all the representative data. If you have done SPSS, part is it is essential. You should show with the help of diagrams. Descriptive data is essential. Apart from this, if normality or validity of data is required, if you are going to do EFA, then it should Cronbach alpha is required, KMO is required. If furthermore, if you come up to the CFA model, then the model visualization is required. Hypothesis framing in that is required in the CFA model type. Use of table, graph, photographs are required. Visual that tell your data, that give a brief presentation of your data. So it is easy to understand. Remember, do not repeat the data or table. So what are the do's and don'ts over here? Use table and figures effectively to present result in a manner that is easy to understand. See, I told you earlier, your table and figure should be effectively present. But there is some different type of techniques which is adopted. Generally, when we use tables, see, if you are using this table, see how they have formatted the table. There is 2 line over here. It is not like in a column. There are no column, no further rows. There is no cell over there. See, only 2 rows are there, and under 2 rows there are some variables which have been presented, and after that there is one more row followed by footnotes. So this is the way of presenting your table. So what you have to do in your table, detailed description are not required, and even column and cells are not required. Talking about figure part, see, this is the way of showing the figure. This is x-axis and this is y-axis, and it is written over here figure 1. Here it is written table 2. Table number 2 is not written. So avoid writing table number 2. Avoid writing figure number 1. Instead of figure number, write figure 1. It should be in the italic form. Right? So this is the way of writing paper, and under writing paper, we are talking about table and graphs. So what are the points to remember? Use proper heading in the table using labeled figure and table. That means figure 1, figure 2, proper heading should be there. See, there is a proper heading, table 2, proper heading is there, right? If we talk about results section, state what you have found. Do not interpret the result, but only what you have found, just note it down. Do not use word above, below. That means the above table represent, the below table represent. Do not use these words. While writing, while interpreting your result, use past tense to describe your result. However, for figures and tables, we should use present tense. Avoid redundant figures and tables. Coming up to the discussion part. So generally, when we come up to discussion part, there are two parts, beginning and end part. When we talk about beginning part means what are the findings. Here you are actually interpreting. Give your main result. So you should start with the word we found that, it has been found that, it has been observed that, and right. Or we can say blood pressure. With the help of example, I can tell you blood pressure increased in patients who were not feeling good. So these are the way of writing the discussion part. Do not repeat the result again and again. It should end up with a strong conclusion, which sum up with the summary part. That means you have to sum up the things, use present tense, and you should always mention the scope of the further study in your discussion part. So what you have to do, it should start with stating whether your hypothesis is rejected, or if it is rejected, then what is the supported things over there? What are the supported things, yeah or not supported things? Interpret your results with the help of some supported facts. Other thing is correlate your finding to the previous studies. It is important. Whether your results support or not supported, it should be correlated with the previous studies. In the end, as I told you, it should give the future scope. So it should how your study add to previous knowledge. How your study add to previous knowledge. How your study is going to add value. So you have to mention that thing. So apart from this, you should show the limitation over there. Okay? Any problem related to this? Any problem related to this? Now, so when we talk about conclusion part, conclusion is sum up. We are concluding the things. So what we have to include in this conclusion part, reader should be able to understand how and why you reach to this particular conclusion. Right? They should have understood what you did and what are the outcomes of the research. So this is the main part of conclusion. This is the answer to your research problem. Broader implication of the research. I told you about some tools and techniques. So these are some of the tools, analysis software part. If I talk about quantitative data, some software. These are some software which we use generally. MATLAB, it is a software program. If I talk about RStudio, it is an open source software. It is again a programming language. If I talk about Microsoft Excel, it is used for mathematical computation, and we can use for statistical computation too. When we talk about SPSS, statistical package of social science, we generally use this SPSS. If we don't have SPSS, then we have PSPP software available free of cost and with open source. Again, we have we don't know how to run PSPP, then we have PAST, or Jamovi is also there, which is somewhat similar to SPSS. Jamovi is also open source software. Talking about some more softwares, these are related to some more softwares like MOS is there. If we work into some HR or marketing strategy. Apart from MOS, we have some finance related tools, which is called EVUs. So EVUs is also there. EVUs is also there. Then we have another tool which is called qualitative data. For qualitative data analysis, we have NVivo tool. Right? So NVivo is used for qualitative data analysis. Any problem in this? Any problem in this?
No, ma'am.
So these are some more qualitative tools. Please check. Apart, NVivo is most important tool, or we can see is the most popular tool which we can use. Door band kar do. Bye. Thank you. Which we can use from other softwares. Last one is submission related. So for submission skills, we have knowledge regarding, just a minute, I will share the live demo with you. I will take 5 more minutes. कहाँ रखा था यार वो? Research. Actually, there is one link. See. See, suppose this is your paper. Suppose. First, you have to identify in which journal you are going to submit your paper, manuscript. So for manuscript, it is required to read the instructions. Sorry, submission guidelines. So this is the submission guidelines which you have to read first. So your topic must match with the objective. See, this is the submission guidelines. So under submission guideline, you have been informed about which type of paper they are going to add. This is most important part. Which is the most suitable journal? So aim and scope. This is most important part, aim and scope. So you have to study this aim and scope part. Whether this particular journal is suitable for your topic or not. See, this journal is suitable. It is written over it. This particular journal is suitable for technology use, technology related or latest development in application of digital technologies in higher education, research and management. So this particular journal is suitable for these type of topics. So first you have to check this. Then only you will be able to submit. And there are some policies, rules and regulation before submission. So you have to check that. See, when you submit, most then what they require is, as I told you earlier, they require title page followed by your affiliation, your name in one page, and then abstract in another page, and the whole manuscript in another Word file or PDF file, right? Word file. Okay. So these things should be separated. Figures and references should be separately sent. So these are the things that you have to keep in your mind. So you can see abstract over there, introduction. See how he has written introduction, followed by the background. Then he mentioned the past studies, whosoever done the previous studies in this era, in this particular topic. Then these are some of the research questions he has framed. He tried to mention the scope of AI in education field with the help of some supported facts, methods. See, the purpose of systematic. He has used systematic review. The paper is based on systematic SLR. And then he gave the reference of this person. What he has done, so he has, whatever he has done, he has included in search strategy. See, this is the table he has sent in another file, so that's why it appears in this way. It is displaying in this way. He, with the help of reliability, he tried to make his study more appropriate. Then limitation. Apart from this, this is a figure, how many countries from which countries he has used. So as it is based on SLR, systematic literature review, so many things were required in that purpose. So apart from end up with the conclusion and implication of further education research with some supported documents. Apart from this, there is a requirement of, just a minute, there was a requirement of, see, you should be aware of these strategies. They ask for funding. Is there any funding? If there is no funding, then you have to mention this study received no external funding. There is no funding from outside or DST. There is, apart from this, they ask for author information. I told you, in this way, you have to give your information. What is the contribution? So you should give your contribution over here. Information about corresponding author. Competing interest they ask for. Sometimes they ask for, if there is a quantitative research, then they ask for data, availability of data. So you have to give data, entire data in Excel format and submit to the editor, reviewer board. So these are the things which you have to keep in your mind. These are the skills which are required while preparing a paper. So this is from my side. Thank you. If you have any query, if you